Hey everyone, my name is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on my M5 motor behind me because unfortunately one of the threads is stripped inside the motor and we have to use a helicoil to get it fixed. So I'm going to show you guys step by step how we use this helicoil. First, let's get into the motor and show you where it's stripped exactly. And then we're going to go step by step into using the helicoil kit, which is pretty easy. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and let's get this motor fixed up so we can continue on our project. Here's the camshaft cap that we need to fix. This is the stud here for the oil runner, which sends oil pressure to all the camshaft caps. So it's really important that this is torque to spec. Right here we have the bad camshaft cap. So this one, the stud in it, it was starting to pull out already, and I could feel it a couple of times when I was reassembling the motor. So let's get this on the bench. We'll get the stud out. We'll get started on it. So everything here is what I got in a kit from Amazon. This is probably just a standard helicoil kit. I got another one from Amazon as well that was a M7 size, but this is an M6 size. So most of the like studs or even like the bolts that you're going to use inside your motor, on your motor, the ones like, imagine the ones that are a 10 millimeter hex face that you would use a 10 millimeter socket on to screw, that is going to be an M6 by 1 pitch thread. So that's what this stud is, and that's what a lot of bolts are. So I'm glad that I have this kit because I have a ton more helicoils to use just in case in the future I strip more threads. It's good to have these around. Basically, in a kit, you're going to get a ton of these helicoils. That's the end. But first, what we need to do is we need to bore out the hole, and then we need to thread that hole with this threading tool. And then once we've done that, we're going to get a helicoil, put it on one of these tools, thread it into the hole, and then we'll be able to leave it in there. I think you have to snap it off as well. You have to break the end off, and then you'll be able to thread this stud here in. So let's go ahead and get this stud out, and then we'll start working on it. Now, the best way to remove a stud when it's not stripped, but we're gonna do it on this one just to show you. You'd put two nuts together like this, and they have to be, they're going to be the same size. So I've got a 10 millimeter wrench here, and we're going to go ahead and tighten one nut onto the other. And now they should be tight enough. Usually, if you're really trying to get this stud out and it's stuck in there, you're going to want to grab the front one, because the more that you try to get the stud out, the more it's going to lock into the top nut. But if you try to loosen this from the top without it already being, coming out, like, here it's coming out really easy, obviously, then, you might accidentally, just loosen this nut off, and you'd have to, tighten it again with both of these. So that's a good trick to get studs out. So, yep, that doesn't look pretty in there. We're gonna go ahead and put this drill bit on. Now, trying to be very careful of not going all the way to the bottom. So there's a little more that we can go in there, and then we're gonna stop. Oh, there you go. I think that might be the end of it. So what we're gonna do now is to thread this in, we're gonna get some WD-40 because you want a little bit of lubricant on these threads so they don't strip out or this doesn't get dull very quickly. And you wanna go, I believe it's a half turn in, a quarter turn back. there you go. I think we hit the bottom. Yep, that's the bottom. So now we're gonna back this thing out, and we should be able to install a helicoil inside. Those are actually pretty clean threads, if you ask me. Now off camera, what I did is I sprayed some brake cleaner in here, so that got all of the mess of shards out, and we want to make sure that we didn't have any in the oil passage here, because we don't want it getting into the camshaft. So now that this is all clean though, I think we might add a little bit of WD-40, because next up we're going to install our helicoil. Now when you get your helicoil, you're going to want to make sure that you pick the prettiest one. Just kidding, you can choose any helicoil, they're all the same in here. Make sure obviously that they have the back pin, because that is what's going to allow us to spin this into the camshaft cap. And then we're going to break that pin off and let it fall out. We want it to get out of there obviously. And then we'll be able to thread as far in or out as we want. So you want to make sure that you have a helicoil that's the correct length. I know you can buy them in a couple different sizes. I went with one that was a little bit shorter because I wanted it for this project. And you can always go shorter or use a shorter helicoil, but if you get one that's too long, then you're going to be in trouble because it's going to poke out. So yeah, let's go ahead and add a little bit of WD-40 in here. And then we're going to install our helicoil. So one of these is to spin. You can see the channel in there. That's to spin the helicoil in. And then this one doesn't have anything in there, because this is just to punch in and break off that pin. So we're gonna put our helicoil on the end here, and then we're going to try to spin it in. Well, I think I twisted it far enough in. Thank goodness that, you know, we do have enough of that oil passage open. I think it looks about similar to OEM. That we just twisted it in so far that it actually broke off the pin inside. So we're gonna, oh, there it is. So if I can show you that. That's the pin that we were using to twist this thing in. So it breaks off. You got to make sure you get it out. And now we've got a successful helicoil installation. And to finish things off, we are going to clean off this stud. So let's go ahead and get the old stuff, metal and all that off of this stud by using a tap kit. All right, so we cleaned up the threads on our original stud here. Now we're gonna go ahead and thread this in. I think all the way it's supposed to go. Wow, that threads in really nicely. Almost too nicely. So let's get that screwed down there. That feels like, let's see if we can do about 10 foot-pounds. Newton meters right here. Oof. It might be achievable, folks. I think that stud is gonna start compressing up against the bottom here in a second and seating. So let's unlock these two nuts, get this cam cap back in the motor, and see if we can torque this down a spec. So these outer 11 millimeter supposed to be torqued to 14 Newton meters. So let's get those out of the way first. Nice and easy. Now we can go ahead and install our oil distributor rail. And then let's get all these 10mm nuts on here. And now the worst part, we're gonna test that helicoil. We have our 10mm socket on our torque wrench set to 10 Newton meters, which is the spec for this M6 nut. Now let's see if she will click. I think it's tightening. Oh my God. I've never been so happy to hear that noise. It looks like our helicoil was a success. Now we're going to carefully tighten the rest of these 10mm nuts. I'm very glad that that procedure went successfully the first time. That is not my first time using a helicoil, sadly, but I'll tell you this, it's pretty easy to do. And if you are in trouble like I was, then you should probably consider using one. So that's a wrap for today. Our helicoil has successfully been installed and everything is torqued to spec inside the motor. So we are all good to continue on our project. Like if you enjoyed today's video, comment down below if you've had to use a helicoil kit like this one before. Subscribe if you want to see more videos, and we will see you next time.